Hey everyone! Let's talk about some important cultural taboos you need to know if you're visiting Malaysia. It's all about showing respect and understanding the local customs. Here are 10 taboos to avoid in Malaysia, and we will go through them one by one. Let's get into it. First up, pointing with your finger. Imagine you're at a restaurant and you spot something delicious on the menu. Instead of pointing at it with your index finger, which is considered rude, try using your thumb or your whole hand to gesture towards the item. It might feel a bit different, but it's a small change that shows a lot of respect. Next, let's talk about touching someone's head. In Malaysia, the head is seen as the most sacred part of the body. So, if you see a cute kid and feel like patting their head, it's better to avoid that. Instead, give them a verbal compliment or a gentle touch on the shoulder. This way, you're respecting their cultural beliefs while still showing your appreciation. Now, when it comes to using your left hand, it's important to remember that the left hand is considered unclean. So, whether you're handing over money, a gift, or anything else, always use your right hand or both hands together. It's a simple gesture, but it goes a long way in showing your respect. Another thing to be mindful of is showing the soles of your feet. If you're sitting down, avoid sitting with your feet up on a chair, showing the soles to others. This is seen as disrespectful. Instead, keep your feet flat on the ground or tucked under your seat. Public displays of affection are another area to be cautious about. While holding hands is generally acceptable, more intimate displays like kissing or hugging your partner in a public park are frowned upon. It's best to keep physical affection private. When it comes to religion, it's a highly sensitive topic in Malaysia. Avoid making jokes or criticizing religious practices at social gatherings. It's best to avoid discussing religion unless you're certain it won't offend anyone, and always speak respectfully. Entering someone's home with your shoes on is a big no-no. Always remove your shoes at the entrance unless the host explicitly tells you otherwise. This is a common practice in many Asian cultures and shows respect for the person's home. Passing objects over someone's head is considered disrespectful as well. Imagine you're at a dinner table and need to pass a dish. Instead of reaching over someone, walk around and hand the dish to them directly or ask someone else to pass it for you. Pointing your feet towards people or religious objects is another thing to avoid. If you're sitting, make sure your feet don't point directly at anyone or anything sacred. Sit cross-legged or with your feet tucked under your body to be respectful. Lastly, touching the opposite gender in public can be sensitive. For example, a man putting his arm around a female colleague's shoulder in public might be frowned upon. Maintain a respectful distance and avoid physical contact unless you are sure it is culturally acceptable in that context. Those are 10 taboos to avoid in Malaysia. Make sure you respect these and you'll be well on your way to being accepted by the locals. Now, if you're planning a trip to Malaysia or just want to learn more about their culture, it's not just about avoiding taboos. There are also plenty of things you can do to show respect and fit right in. Let's dive into some examples of cultural correctness in Malaysia. First off, when you meet someone, especially if they're older or hold a position of respect, it's customary to greet them with a slight bow or nod of the head. This gesture acknowledges their status and shows your respect. If you're shaking hands, do it gently and with both hands if possible. Sometimes you'll notice people placing their right hand over their heart after a handshake. This is a warm gesture that signifies sincerity and respect. When it comes to addressing people, using appropriate titles and forms of address is very important. For example, addressing someone as Encik, Mr., Sik, Miss, or Puan, Mrs., before their name is a polite way to show respect. If someone has a professional title, like doctor or professor, make sure to use it. In social settings, particularly when visiting someone's home, it's customary to bring a small gift. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. A box of chocolates or a simple fruit basket is perfect. It's also a nice touch to wrap the gift neatly. When you present the gift, use both hands. This shows that you're giving it with sincerity. When dining, if you're invited to a meal, it's polite to wait for the host to start eating before you begin. This shows your respect for them as the host. Also, if you're sharing dishes, use the serving spoons provided rather than your own utensils. It's a simple way to show good manners and consideration for everyone at the table. In conversations, showing genuine interest in Malaysian culture and traditions is always appreciated. Ask questions and listen attentively. Malaysians are generally very proud of their diverse heritage and are happy to share stories about their customs and history. When it comes to religious practices, showing respect is key. If you're visiting a mosque or temple, dress modestly. Covering your shoulders and knees is a good rule of thumb. For mosques, women might be required to wear a headscarf. Always follow the local customs and ask if you're unsure about something. Taking off your shoes before entering a religious space is also standard practice. In day-to-day interactions, showing patience and politeness goes a long way. Malaysia is a country with a rich blend of cultures and traditions, and being courteous and considerate will always be appreciated. For instance, when boarding public transportation, let others get off before you get on. Simple acts of kindness, like holding the door for someone or saying thank you and please, are universally appreciated and reflect well on you as a visitor. By following these practices, you'll not only show your respect for Malaysian culture, but also enrich your experience by connecting more deeply with the people you meet. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope these tips help you navigate Malaysian culture with ease and respect.